Hello, everybody. I'm Carla Bruni, the Preservation and Resiliency Specialist and your friendly webinar facilitator at Chicago Bungalow Association. Tonight, we will be learning all about property tax exemptions. Our Facebook live stream actually isn't going to be happening tonight. Facebook changed some settings on us, so we're going to be recording this and we'll send it out to everybody tomorrow who registered. Also, we'll have it through our website as always as well. So there will be a recording. Don't worry about that. And let's see. Other than that, we're going to have the usual format tonight where Hector is going to speak for a little while. I'll introduce him in a moment. And then at the end of his presentation, we're going to do about 15 minutes of Q&A, whatever gets us to about 7 p.m. tonight, or whenever we get through your questions. And we can take it from there. So let me go ahead and introduce Hector, who again is going to be talking about property tax exemptions tonight. Hector has been working with the Cook County Assessor's Office for the last 13 years, where he's worked in many different departments to hone his skills as the community outreach specialist. So we love having Hector on here because he knows how to actually talk to people about things that are kind of a little bit more complex or frustrating to get through normally. So we also have Gail Towers. Gail's always sort of in the background on these. She's answering questions too as they come. So we've got sort of two different fronts of answering your questions tonight. So we're gonna be able to get through everything pretty easily, we think, which is always wonderful. Yes, so I think with that, again, we're going to send an email afterwards. We also have a webinar on Wednesday this week. So Wednesday night, if you're available, we have a webinar on basement flooding at 6 p.m. So just go to chicagobungalow.org if you want to sign up for that. We'd love to see you on there as well. Same deal. If you can't make it, we'll email it out to you later. So always good to sign up either way. All right, I think without any further ado then, if you are ready, Hector, you can go ahead and pull up your presentation.
I am. So before we do anything, I just want to say thank you guys for having me. You speak very, very kindly, and I appreciate it. Lots of people choose not to use such nice words when talking about this, so I appreciate it. I love it. Thank you
Well,
so
you're
much.
great in this capacity, Hector. I don't know what you do otherwise, but we love having you. So
Thank you so much, and I love being here. So
great.
tonight we have a couple different things we're going to be doing, ladies and gentlemen. So please, here is my camera, but here's what I'm looking at. So please don't think I'm ignoring you or I'm not interested. I'm just looking at my screens to make sure everything is running smoothly. I want to thank you guys, the Chicago Bungalow Association, for having me, having us. I want to thank Ms. Gale, who's in the background. Some housekeeping rules very quickly. If you are like me and you have ADHD, and you need to write things down and you need to get things out, otherwise they'll just disappear. Go ahead and throw all of your questions into the comments, or no, I'm sorry, into the Q&A portion. And if it needs immediate attention, Ms. Gail Towers is going to jump in there and answer that for you. Otherwise, we're going to have a Q&A at the very end. But please don't feel weird, don't feel rushed, go ahead and put the question in there, and then I promise we'll get to it at the very end. I'm going to now share my screen, so give me 1 second, por favor. Sharing my screen. Slideshow, start from the beginning. Let's go, ladies and gentlemen. So very quickly, thank you for joining us. The gentleman you see on the screen is the Cook County Assessor, Fritz Katie. Ladies and gentlemen, he is who is your Cook County Assessor. Now, what is the responsibility of our office? I can tell you there is so much miscommunication out there that I just want to clear this up for you right now. Here's what we do. Our office is responsible for putting values on almost 2 million different properties, right? How do we do that? We use a mass appraisal system, right? We're not just walking around pulling numbers out of a hat, throwing numbers or darts at a board. That's not how this works. It's a mass appraisal system. We are also responsible for the exemptions or the discounts that are on your second installment tax bill. Lastly, we're also responsible for the appeal process, which is kind of like a checks and balances. It's where you say, hey, I don't agree with the value of my home. You guys messed it up. Let's figure it out. And we give you a way to kind of challenge us on that. Here's what we don't do. We are not responsible for your property tax bill. We are not responsible for mailing your property tax bill. We're not responsible for collecting your property tax money. That has nothing to do with our office. We are not responsible for the tax rates or the tax levies or the different municipalities that are within your specific township. That has nothing to do with our office. We are just responsible for the value, the discounts, and the appeal. We have 8 different exemptions, and that's what we're going to talk about tonight. So let's jump right into it. So the first one, the homeowner exemption. This is for anyone who has owned and occupied their property as of January 1 of 2023 or before. If that is you, then you qualify for this exemption and you get this discount. There is a little caveat to this. This can be prorated if your home was like under new construction and it was not completed as of January 1. So if you're building your home and let's say it gets done in March, then you'll get a prorated discount. This exemption is automatically renewed going forward. That means once you apply for it once, you don't have to do it again unless there's a deed change. The senior citizen exemption. This is for anyone who was born in 1958 or before. It doesn't matter when you owned and occupied the property. You could have owned it January 1, 2023 or December 30th, 2023. It doesn't matter. As long as you own and occupied it anytime within 2023 and you were born in 1958 or before, you qualify for this exemption. This is automatically renewed going forward as well. The low income senior citizen assessment freeze. Yikes. And this is for anyone who was born in 1958 or before, does not make more than $65,000 as a total household income, and you owned and occupied that property January 1 of 2022 and January 1 of 2023 or before, right? You must have owned it within that time, and your equalized assessed value must have increased significantly. I am so sorry. Wrong exemption. This is for the senior freeze. There is a little change, though, that I do want to kind of, not a change, but more like a, hey, we want to help you guys out, right? So if you are a part of the Aid to the Aged, Blind, and Disabled program, the SNAP program, the LIHEAP program, the Benefit Access program, or the Senior Citizen Estate Tax Deferral program, if you are a part of those programs, then that means you automatically qualify for the income portion of the senior freeze. So we're not going to make you do double work. If you receive one of these programs, just submit that documentation to us, a copy, obviously. Please don't send us the original. And then that covers your income portion. However, if you're not part of these programs, then you do have to give us your income information. This exemption must be automatically, this exemption must be filed for annually because it is income based. I hope that makes sense. I know we get the argument, hey guys, I was a senior last year. That means I'm a senior this year. True. However, you may have won the lottery. You may have lost a spouse. You may have come into some retirement money or something might have changed for your income. That's why we need to have this information every year. This is not automatically renewed. Now, persons with disability exemption. This is an automatically renewed exemption. However, it's because of new legislation. It has nothing to do with COVID-19. There is a policy change with this. In the past, when you filed for the disabled persons exemption, you needed a P-Tax 343A form, and you would give that to your doctor. Your doctor would then fill that out on your behalf, and you would submit that back to our office. Now, you can turn that application in to your doctor and your optometrist. So more people are kind of being able to take advantage of this discount, and we definitely love that. To qualify for this exemption, you must have become disabled within 2023 or before, and you must own and occupy that property as of January 1, 2023 or before, right? So you just want to make sure you qualify. If I'm going too fast, all this information can be found on our website, cookcountyassessor.com/exemptions. Literally, these are just screenshots. So you go to our website, cookcountyassessor.com/exemptions, and all this is listed there. Next, my favorite exemption, veterans with disability exemption. This is for anyone who has a service-connected disability of 30% or greater. So let's dig in a little bit. So first, this exemption must be applied for annually because those percentages can change. However, if you are one of the folks who is permanently or totally or 100% disabled per the VA, then you no longer have to apply for this again. So if you are not 100% disabled, then you do have to apply for this every single year. If you are married and for whatever reason you and your significant other are not living in the same state and you pass as the veteran, they must be a resident of Illinois when you passed in order to take advantage of your discount. Meaning, if me and my wife are living in two different states and I pass and I'm receiving this discount, she cannot wait until I pass and then move back and say, hey, can I take advantage of this exemption? The answer is going to be no. She must have been an Illinois resident at the time of my passing. I hope that makes sense. Also, here's what your eligibility letter is going to look like. The information we're looking for is at the bottom, typically at the bottom, and you'll see it highlighted where it'll say that your percentage is 30 to 100% depending on what it is, and if you are permanently disabled or not. Ladies and gentlemen, we want you all to know that if you are 30 to 49%, you receive X off of your tax bill. If you are 50 to 69%, you get X removed off your tax bill. If you are 70 to 100%, you don't pay property taxes at all as long as your home is not worth more than $800,000. So please keep that in mind. If you're a disabled veteran, but your percentage is less than 30, you can always apply for the disabled persons exemption. Now, what kind of qualifies you for the disabled veteran? Well, you must have served as a member of the United States Armed Forces, active duty, or National Guard, the reserves, and you must have been honorably discharged. And your eligibility rate must have been 30 to 100%. I already did that breakdown for you, but that breakdown is also right here on the screen as well. Now, please keep in mind, these numbers that you see, this is not dollar amounts. This is EAV. And just to make that as simple as possible, 30 to 49%, you get 2,500 times the tax rate off of your tax bill. 50 to 69%, you get 5,000 times the tax rate off of your tax bill. And if you're 70 to 100%, don't even do that math. As long as your home is not worth $800,000 or more, you get the exemption. I hope that makes sense. There is a little thing we want to highlight. Let's say I'm a disabled veteran and I own a 2-flat or a 3-flat. In the past, taxpayers were getting the exemption for the entire property. That doesn't really make sense, right? Because you don't own and live inside all of the units in that property. So we just want to draw attention to people who are trying to do this and let them know that your discount will only be for your unit if that is your situation. Now, if you own your entire home, this has nothing to do with you. Just ignore this. But for those who have a 2-unit, 3-unit, 4-unit, 5-unit, your exemption only applies to your specific unit. Returning veterans exemption. This is a cool exemption in the fact that it is a kind of 2-year exemption. So it's for the year you return and for 1 year later. In order to qualify, you must have served in the U.S. Armed Forces, National Guard, or the reserves. And you must have owned and occupied that property as of January 1, 2023. The long-time exemption. I think this is where everyone's questions are going to be. The long-time exemption. This is for anyone who has owned and occupied the property from January 1, 2013 through January 1, 2023 or before. You cannot make more than $100,000 as a total household income, and your equalized assessed value must have increased significantly depending on what township you actually live in. This is an actual math equation that has to be done. The good news is our office does it for you, right? So what they do is they calculate, they figure it out, and then if you do qualify, you'll receive an application in the springtime. Not everyone who believes they qualify qualifies. But in the event that you believe you do, I'm going to show you in a few more slides how to contact us directly so you can let us know. Lastly, we have the home improvement exemption. This is a unique exemption in the fact that you don't actually have to apply for it. What happens is you you kind of pull permits, and from those permits, that gets sent to our office, and our office goes ahead and figures out if this adds actual value to your property or not. Now, the way this exemption works is anything up to 75,000 in improvements, instead of being taxed on it, you are frozen from it. That means if your home is worth 100,000 and you put $75,000 worth of work into it, your home should be worth 175,000. But with the home improvement exemption, that's actually frozen. So you're not actually charged or taxed on that 75,000 for 4 years. However, anything greater than that 75,000, so let's say it was 76,000, you are responsible for that extra 1,000. So just something we wanted to draw attention to. But now on to the meats and potatoes, right? On to the thing you guys actually came here to do, came here to see. I'm going to walk you literally line by line. I promise it won't be boring. Line by line on how to file this exemption. So first, you're going to go to cookcountyassessor.com and click on the word exemption up here by the big red arrow. And then from there, you're going to go apply online. Now, if you need translation, we have English, Spanish, Polish, and Chinese, and all the documentation that's required. And you can apply for past years if you need to, but we're going to focus on just regular residential to get through this today. So you would click apply online and then click on begin filing. Here, you'll go ahead and give us your email and your password unless you don't have one. And then you would just create a new account. If you have filed in the past, then this might, depending on how your computer's set up, auto-populate for you. If it does, it's going to be so much easier. But just go ahead and type in your email address and your password. From here, you want to click on begin filing and just start. So the first thing you're going to do is put in your PIN number and then click the word search. Once you click the word search, you're going to see here that your PIN number is going to show up along with the owner's name and the address. Now, for most people, their name is going to show up here. But if you have the situation where your home was previously owned by other people, then their name might show there. It doesn't matter. Once you click on their name, you can actually scroll down and find yours listed there. Just find yours and click start filing. And from here, wherever you see a red star or a red asterisk or a checkbox, you must complete that task. You cannot move forward if you do not complete the task. If you try, you're going to get a giant box that says, there's a mistake. Do you want to fix it now or fix it later? I would encourage you to take your time and just go ahead and answer every single one of these questions. So that's what we're going to do. So you put in your PIN number and just click on the little drop-down menus and boom, answer these questions. So do you have more than one PIN number? Most of you are going to say no. Is it your primary residence? You're going to say yes, if it is. And then you're just going to answer these questions to figure out which exemption you're actually trying to apply for. Since we are talking about the homeowner's exemption, you'll see right here below, it says you may qualify for the homeowner exemption. But if you were a veteran or you were a senior or something of that nature, once you clicked on those answers and changed your answers, you would see that listed here as well. So now we're on the additional pins portion. Most of you all aren't going to have an additional pin, but in the event that you do, you would just add it. Click next. And then from here, we just need you to check the boxes that are here. You need to complete those tasks, right? So by checking this box, I affirm that neither I or my spouse, if any, have applied for the homestead exemption, this is another word for homeowners, on any other property for the subject year, which means you cannot receive multiple exemptions on multiple properties. You can only get them on the one you own and occupy. So once you go ahead and check this, you'll see up here that homeowner is checked because that's what I'm applying for. But if there was a senior, you would see a check here. If it was a senior freeze, you'll see the check here, so on and so forth. Once you're satisfied, you click next. And from here, there's a red star, red asterisk. So what do we have to do? We have to complete that task. So go ahead and click on that. And we need to know, are you the attorney, taxpayer representative, or the taxpayer owner? Almost all of you all are going to check taxpayer owner. The only reason you wouldn't do this is if you hired an attorney to do this for you, but you'll see that you don't need, that's not necessary. Not telling you what to do, but that's not necessary. And from here, again, just go ahead and fill out this information. So click your name, and then this will auto-populate for you. I just left it blank because it was my information on there. We want to know Do you want us to contact you via email, phone, or text message? I put text message because I'm always on my phone. We are all always on our phones. Which language do you prefer? We have English, Spanish, Polish, Chinese. We have a list of them. Just go ahead and click the one that you prefer most and click next. From here, pause. I need your attention. We always get this remark. I didn't know I had to submit a driver's license or valid state ID or some form of identification. Says right here, documentation needed. Photo ID that verifies identity and occupancy in the tax year in which you're applying. So please, whatever you need to submit will be listed right here. So you don't need to wonder or question what you need to do. It will literally be listed right here. So click next, and then just fill out our affidavit. Your name, your phone number, your address, your name, the year and close to date of when you purchased. So if you don't know the exact date you bought your home, just get a ballpark figure. But when you go to this portion where when the next date comes, you need to click the dates that you are actually filling out the application. Don't write the word present. Don't try to click the end of 2024. Like, just click whatever the date you are on when you are actually applying. Go ahead and give us your address, your PIN number again, your name again, and then the date where it says select today's date, and this date must match. So whatever date you're actually filling this out on, just click that date, guys. Click next, and here comes the attachments. Ladies and gentlemen, this is where you would submit your driver's license or state ID, your P-tax form for the disabled persons exemption, your DD-214, your eligibility letter. All of that will be listed here. And for photo ID, we actually have a list of things that you can submit. If you have something from list A, that's all you need. If you don't have something from list A, then you need something from list B and C. So just want to highlight that as well. That way there is no confusion. Once you are done submitting your information, click the word next, and then just give us your name, your phone number, and your email address, and click the word submit. Ladies and gentlemen, up to this point, you can stop your submission, you can pause your submission, you can edit your submission, you can cancel your submission up until this point. But once you click yes, you're going to get a confirmation page. We get this question every day. Hey guys, I filed my exemption application online, but I never got a confirmation page. Yes, you did. Or I never got a confirmation email. Yes, you did. It's right here. And this is very important because where it says filing ID number, you're actually going to have a number there. That number is how you would contact our office and tell us, hey, can you check on the status of my application? We're going to say, awesome, what's your filing ID number? If you give us your filing ID number, we can tell you where your application is. Alternatively, you can click on the words My Filing and find your application there as well. However, if you call our office and say, hey, my name is John Smith, can you please? No, we cannot. We cannot find your application by your name. It's not going to work like that. We need your filing ID number. So please write this number down, take a screenshot, take a picture, tattoo it on, whatever you need to do so that you don't lose this number. Now, a couple of things I want to draw your attention to is your second installment tax bill. Bottom left-hand corner where it says tax calculator, we kind of blew that up over here on the other side. That is where your exemptions will be listed. You'll see the homeowner exemption, senior citizen exemption, senior freeze exemption, disabled person, disabled veteran, returning vet. All of those will be listed here. The only one that won't be listed here is the long time exemption. For whatever reason, the treasurer's office has decided to put it under where it says important messages. So that's where you'll see the word long time. If you, for whatever reason, forgot to file for previous years, or you did and your dog ate it, you can still do that now. Contact our office, cookcountyassessor.com/certificate-error. Here you can file for previous years that you may have missed. You can do 2018, 2019, 2020, 21, and 22. But ladies and gentlemen, 2018 is going to be gone very, very soon. So please, if this is you, take advantage of this right now. If you want to connect with us directly, you can call us at 312-443-7550. I would recommend you contact us via social media because all of us are on our phones all the time. So we kind of answer those questions immediately. You can make an appointment at our 118 North Clark location, our Markham Courthouse location, our Skokie Courthouse location. And you can also sign up to receive email updates from our office. If you were to hover over this QR code, our Linktree account would actually open up. And oops, sorry, Linktree account. Oh my gosh. Here we go. Linktree account. Let's go technology. Would actually open up, and from here, you can actually do everything we talked about. And if you go down to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, the seventh option down, you can sign up for our newsletter. That way you are ahead of the game and you are always in tune with what is actually happening with your property. So let me close out, or stop sharing, I should say. And now, my favorite part.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you so much, Hector. It's a lot of information. Thank you also for posting the email and phone number and social media and everything. If folks need that, again, we can put that in the email that we send out afterwards so that they have that all available too. And Gail has been cranking away in the background, also answering questions. She got through a bunch of them, but there's still a bunch in here. So let's get going on those.
Yeah, you ask the question and I'll jump right in.
Great. And some of these you probably answered along the way as well, but it's always nice to just ask them again. Folks miss things. So is there a maximum income to qualify for the senior tax exemption?
Great question. The senior citizen exemption has no income cap whatsoever. The senior freeze is different. You can't make more than $65,000 as a total household income gross.
Okay. Is there a way to send comments and suggestions about how to improve the system? Where would people send those?
Absolutely. CookCountyAssessor.com/contact. You use that link. Miss Gail, can you throw that in there for us, please? There you just, once that opens up on our web, actually, I wonder if I can do that. Let's see. I think I can show you. That would be kind of cool. Let me see, show my screen. Oh yeah, I can. Okay, give me 1 second. I'll show you how to do it right now. I prefer to do it this way. And oh, come on. Cook County Assessor. I have fat fingers, so I'm always typing the wrong thing. All right, desktop number 2. That is right here. We're going to share. Okay, so you go to cookcountyassessor.com, click on the word contact, and then go down to general contact form. Here is where you would fill this out. This literally goes to our department directly. There's only 6 of us that answer these emails. So you're not like emailing an automated system. You're emailing one of 6 of us, which 2 of us are in this meeting right now. So please know that this is serious. I didn't just give you some random answer. You're contacting us directly. Carla, you muted yourself, I think.
Sorry about that.
Nope.
I was just saying thanks for showing that.
Absolutely.
Let's see. My boyfriend and I bought a home, but since we're not married, should we both apply for the homeowners exemption or just one of us?
Great question. You do not have to be married to apply for the exemption. You just have to own and occupy the property. So as long as one of you all owned and occupied it on January 1, 2023 or before, you qualify.
Okay, so just one person has to apply, whoever's on one. Yep. Okay. How do I find a PIN for my property? This might be good to show as well.
Yes, so I'm going to show you the easy way. Contact us. Give us your address. Because it just depends, right? Some people, okay, in a perfect world, you do it this way. I'll show you. In a perfect
world. It's a little quirky. I look things up on there all the time. So
in a perfect world, in a perfect world, I'll show you. Hold on. In a perfect world, this is what you would do. CookCountyAssessor.com. CookCountyAssessor.com, click search by address here, and then you would fill this information out. However, we know that a lot of things aren't done the way they're supposed to be done. So some people live on court, but it says place. Some people live on place, but it says court. Some people live on a corner, so they believe their address is this address, but it's really this address. So that's why we just say contact us directly using the way I just showed you right now. Cook County Assessor contact, general contact, and then we can get that information out to you.
Great. Okay, Dee asked, she didn't get her ID until June 2023. So she's wondering if she has to wait until 2025 to file for an exemption. She didn't have an ID with her current address until last year, but she lived at the residence prior to then. So can she do it retroactively?
So that's a great question. Okay. So assuming, which I hate doing that, but assuming she still has her old ID, she can show that her previous address was for this long. I'm just making up dates till July. And in July, she got her new ID. But what I would encourage her to do is just bring your closing documentation, because closing documentation will show when you actually purchased the property. So that's what I would do. I would submit my closing documentation along with both, oh my gosh, driver's licenses that show the previous address and the current address. That's what I would do.
Okay, great. How do I know which exemptions I am currently getting?
So you will look at your last year's tax bill, look at the bottom portion under tax calculator, and that's how you would know what you were receiving. Currently, you can contact us directly and we can kind of let you know, but it just depends on which exemption it is, because not all of them auto renew. So it just depends. But you can go to our website, cookcountyassessor.com, put in your PIN number, and just see what your previous exemptions were.
Okay. If I'm eligible for the senior exemption now, but not for the homeowner exemption, would I just apply for the homeowner exemption in spring of 2024? And also, she's wondering if the senior exemption will auto renew, which I know we addressed, but I know it's a good one.
That is a great question. She's actually asking a different question than she thinks she is. So let's jump right in. You cannot receive the senior exemption and not receive the homeowner's exemption. You get both. So if you are a senior and you did in fact own and occupy that property sometime in 2023, when you apply, you will get both. There's no way to get the senior without the homeowner. You can receive the homeowner without the senior. That makes sense. But other way you cannot. So you'll be getting both exemptions. And then what was the next part of that question?
If the senior exemption would auto renew.
Yes, the senior citizen auto renews going forward, assuming you apply on time. If you do not apply on time for any exemption and you file a certificate of error, it's supposed to roll over, but I would highly recommend that you go ahead and apply again.
I have owned my home since 1975. I'm 80 years old. Can I receive all three? Homeowner, senior, and low income freeze?
You can receive any exemption you meet the requirements for. So any exemption you qualify for, you absolutely can receive.
When will the 2018 certificate of error fall off?
I don't know that information yet. It's going to be soon, though, because I know that typically, historically, so I'm not saying this was going to happen now, historically, it's been between spring and summertime. And we're approaching spring now. We're not in spring yet, I don't think. But, well, it kind of felt like it did like a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
It was nice outside.
Yeah. All right, Jeffrey, you heard him. My husband is legally blind, but is not part of the AABD program. Please advise on how to assist him to be qualified. Not sure if that's something you...
That is not something I can help you with, but I can help you with something else. So if my mother-in-law is legally blind, so what you can do is you can file for the disabled person's exemption, take the P-tax form that you're going to get with that application to the optometrist, let them fill it out on behalf of whoever was blind. I forgot who it was, legally blind. And then you can submit that and receive a discount, assuming they own and occupy the property. I'm just assuming that they meet all the requirements, but you can do that. To help with the blind and aged program, you would have to contact the city, I believe.
Okay. And Keith and Sandra, if you missed that, again, we're gonna send it, this link out in the email too, so skip to the end and, you can hear all of that again as well. Person is not clear about the long-term exemptions. Can you get the senior tax exemption as a long-term exemption?
So let's not confuse what they are. The long-time exemption is different than the senior citizen exemption. Can you receive the senior citizen exemption and the long-time exemption at the same time? Yes, you can. You cannot receive the senior freeze and the long time. Essentially, they do the same thing. It's just like the disabled person and disabled veteran, they essentially do the same thing. So you can mix and match any exemption you want. You just cannot combine or receive both the long time and freeze or the disabled person and disabled veteran. I hope that made sense.
Yeah. Is there a list of approved disabilities for exemptions like PTSD? Do you know where that
Great
could
question. No, there is not. Our office has zero authority to determine if you are disabled or not. That's why we have that P-tax form that you give to your doctor.
Okay. And where do you find that form?
It's on our website. So let me share my screen.
Seems like we've got a few people. Yeah.
No problem at all. So Cook County is, yeah, let me go to the beginning. CookCountyAssessor.com. Exemptions. Disabled person. Right here, boom. Person with disability exemption. Documentation required. Oops, sorry, that's not what I meant to do. Is it eligibility? Where is the P-tax? It's in here somewhere. I just gotta find it. Oh. Where is the P-tax form? It's on here. I just don't use it, but it's on here, I promise.
So folks can also reach out and.
Yeah, oh, here it is right here. I found it.
Oh, okay.
I found it. So under documentation required, it is under number 1, and it's the last bullet. It's this P-tax form. Here's what you would print out and give to your doctor or physician.
Right.
I'm sorry, doctor or optometrist.
Okay.
So let's do that one more time. It's under CookCountyAssessor.com, exemptions, person with disability exemption, documentation required, under number 1, the last bullet right here. And it's a hyperlink, so you just click on it and print it.
Okay. Let's see. We have a property owner who does not have a state ID and is not a US citizen. So they're wondering if they're allowed to file for homeowners exemption since they own the property.
So that is, give me 1 sec. Oh, I'm just gonna keep this screen on because we keep coming back to it.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Okay, so here, let me just do this. So you will go to exemptions. You will go to eligibility, no, documentation required. So if you do not have one of these right here, then you need 1 from list B and 1 from list C. Sorry, 1 from list C. That is the documentation we would need for you to file for your exemptions. So again, if you don't have one of these, so a driver's license or state ID, City of Chicago, I don't know how to say this in English, but in Spanish is the matricula, which is like an ID from the consulate, right? If you don't have one of these 3, then you will need 1 from here and 1 from here. I hope that made sense.
Yeah, that's good. Let's see, would the home improvement exemption apply to upgrading your house alarm system?
Great question. No, sorry. That did not
answer, but yeah.
yeah. That did not respectfully add any type of value to your home. So the exemption, the home improvement exemption is for class 2 properties, which are residential properties. that actually add value. So does it change in size? Does it change in height? Does it change in square footage? Did it change in value, dollars, right? An alarm system is not going to do that. I
Again,
respect your question though.
yeah. Again, somebody asking about more than one exemption. Yes, you can more than one exemption.
As long as you qualify, yes, you can.
Let's see. Okay. My house flooded last year. Can I get both the homestead exemption and the home improvement exemption? And is there an income limit?
Great question. So flooding has nothing to do with your exemptions. So you just have to meet the requirements for said exemption. So you would just go to our website, click on the word exemption, find the exemption you're trying to apply for, read the requirements, or it's called eligibility, and see if you qualify. Flooding has nothing to do with that. So you just go ahead and apply. I'm sorry for what happened to you though, because that's crazy. My church literally floods literally like 3-4 times a year. I hate it.
Yikes. Yeah. We have a
And bad and
webinar
bad.
coming up. So
No, and it's up to my shins. Like my dad's the pastor, so it's like I have to go down there and clean that up. Yes, sir. And it's like, oh my God.
it's rough. We do have our basement flooding webinar on Wednesday as a reminder, everybody. So if that helps. I have a veteran disability rating of 20%. Would that qualify for disabled persons discount? And if
Great
so,
question.
documents are needed, which we sort of looked at, but
Yep, absolutely. So it would not qualify for disabled veteran, but you will qualify for disabled person for sure.
Right.
And I don't want to tell you what to do, but and I know it's very stressful. I know it's very frustrating. I know it's very annoying, but I can't even tell you how many veterans, I do this every day. How many veterans I speak with that are like, man, I'm only 30%. I'm only, 40%. Go back and I'm not saying take advantage of the system, but I am saying use all the resources that are in front of you to try to get your eligibility rate greater. I can tell you that people have gone from 30 to 50, from 50 to 70, from 70 to 100. Like I've seen it happen every day. So if that is something you're interested in, I would encourage. I know it's horrible. I know that it's frustrating. I know it sometimes can be very stressful on your mind. But if it's something you want to look at, you should definitely take advantage of that.
Okay. Let's see. I was unable to apply for the senior freeze online as my husband's name did not show up online, but appears on our tax bill. He's the senior, I am not. Is there a way to do this online?
Yes. So you would just click on your husband's or you would just apply. And then when it gets to finding your name, just scroll down. If for whatever reason you can't edit that portion, which you absolutely can, but maybe you just weren't able to, you can print out the application and just fill it out by hand.
Okay. Great. Is a property tax appeal different than an exemption?
Great question. It absolutely is. An exemption is you asking for a discount. An appeal is you saying you don't agree with the value we put on your property. Can we please double check our work? Those are two different things. Great question.
Okay, I missed 2 years of homeowners exemptions. Do I need to apply for 2 certificates of error separately, or will one cover all the years where the exemption was applicable but missed?
Great question. Previously, you had to do one for every single year. Such a waste of time. Now, it's all on one application. So you would just say, for example, homeowner 20, I'm just making it up, 2018, 2019, 20, you just check the years in question. But you do have to provide proof. So
if you have your house in a trust, do you need to submit documentation?
absolutely. Great question. So if your property is in a trust, I'm assuming you're one of the trustees. If you're not, you cannot do this. But we're just assuming you are. You need to submit proof from the trust that you are one of the trustees with a valid driver's license or state ID. Excuse me. And then submit that paperwork.
Okay. That
is something I would do in person. You don't have to, but that's something I would.
If a property is going through probate, is the apparent heir / occupant eligible for the homeowner's exemption if they have an occupancy agreement with the estate?
So they are currently going through probate, which means they don't actually own it yet. So I want to say no, because it must be owner occupied. And it can't be owner occupied if it's currently in probate because no owner actually owns it yet.
Hmm.
But they should send that question in.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure I'm right, but I'm not 100% sure I'm right. So I want to make sure I'm right before we say something.
Got it. Yes. Okay. Someone's asking if the fact that their 2023 income was below 65,000, if it doesn't matter until next year.
Great question. Yes. So if you're applying for the 2023 senior freeze, we are using the 2022 income. If your 2023 income is lower than 65,000, then you can use that for the 2024 application next year.
Okay. Some of these are a little bit out of context, so I just want to find some that I'm sure I'm getting the right question here.
I see a weird one that I would like to answer. Is that okay?
Please,
I
please.
shouldn't have said weird. It's just unique. So it's from an anonymous person. It says, if I use the homeowner improvement exemption, the home improvement exemption, and I will turn 65 in 2 years, how long will the exemption last? That's not how that works. So the home improvement exemption is not something you apply for. It's something, assuming you did everything correct, you would pull permits for the improvements of your property. Those permits would be sent to our office, and then we would do our due diligence. That has nothing to do with you being a senior. So those are two different things. The senior citizen exemption, you had to have been born in 1958 or before to qualify. So you just do the math. However, whatever year you were born after 1958 is when you would apply.
Will the recording of this webinar be sent out to attendees? I just want to say again, yeah, we will be emailing everybody who signed up for this webinar with a link to this. Let's see. Sorry, sometimes when our audience types in questions, it's like at a moment.
Yeah.
You're talking about a specific thing, and so but if it's not really clear, it's just really difficult to quite understand. If I'm getting it right.
No worries.
Is there still time to apply for the 2023 homeowners exemption, even though we just paid our first installment, or will we have to apply later?
I love these questions. That means people are paying attention. So your first installment, you are never going to see exemptions on it. Your exemptions are only applied or reflected on your second installment tax bill. So absolutely, you have until April 5th, I believe, to apply for the any of the exemptions, the homeowner exemption, senior citizen. So you want to do that as soon as possible.
Okay. We just bought a home in August from someone who was a landlord who rented the property, and my husband also just received 50% VA disability. What exemptions can we apply for, and what forms do we use?
So you need to apply for whatever exemptions you qualify for. So you will go to cookcountyassessor.com, click on the word exemption, and then just look at the eligibility of those exemptions.
Whatever pops up, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Do I have to be in my monthly to apply for the exemption for my particular township? Does that make?
Say that one more time.
It might be a typo, but I wasn't sure if it was, and I didn't know. Do I have to be in my monthly? Might be my monthly something to apply for the exemption for my particular township. We can try a different one.
So to apply for any exemption, you should do it now. And to qualify for most of our exemptions, you must have owned and occupied that property January 1 of 2023. So again, for anyone trying to figure out which exemptions they qualify for, just literally, like here, let me share my screen again. It literally says right here. Let me mute this or whatever. Go to cookcountyassessor.com. Go to exemptions, exemption overview. And then here, I just clicked one. eligibility. Here's the eligibility. So as long as you meet this eligibility, you qualify. Alternatively, I just showed you all how to apply online. So when you apply online, you'll be asked those questions also, and then the application will actually guide you on which exemption you qualify for.
Can I send pics with my appeal to show less modernization than my neighbors? Looks like their taxes are the same or higher than their neighbors, and they want to show that.
Can they send a picture of their neighbor's house when they file for an appeal to try to get a reduction? Is that the question?
Can I send pics with my appeal to show less modernization than the neighbors? The neighbors did upgrades, and yet they're paying the same amount of taxes as their neighbors, I think is the crux.
Yeah, so that's a different situation because your value is not based on what your neighbor did. Your value is based on what your community, your neighborhood did, right? Your area did. So one person isn't really going to make a change. Now, if everyone did that change, that's a different conversation. Can you do that? Absolutely. Will you see a reduction? Probably not. But I'm not an analyst, so I can't legally say that will happen or not. I personally wouldn't do that.
There's a lot of garage questions in here in this little bundle. So does a new garage roof count for the home improvement?
So garages are not, it depends. All right, so typically they're not part of your home. They're not a livable square foot area. They're not a livable space. It's not the home that's being improved. However, some people have their garage connected to their home, so it is part of their home. So it's just a different situation. I would have them submit that question directly to see what kind of property they actually have, and then move forward from there.
There's a couple like that, so good to know. If you're receiving a pension and Social Security and they do not total $65,000, should you or can you still apply?
As long as your income is lower than 65,000 as a total gross total household income gross, you qualify.
What does rejection code 01 mean? This is a good
I would have to like open up our system and check it out, but that's a question they can submit.
Right, exactly.
And if this is about an exemption, I know that if you do get a rejection, it will tell you what the rejection was actually for. It'll say rejection code 01 and it'll say why. They can log into their account on our website. Like they're going to create a new exemption application and go to Message Center, and that's where that information will be.
Okay. Just time for a couple more. Man, we got through 55 questions already.
This is literally my favorite part, so let's do it.
I live on the second floor and my mom is on the first floor. On the seniors freeze, it asks for all income in the building, which disqualifies her. Why is that?
Because it's total household income gross. That's why.
It'd have to be two separate units with separate gas and electric and everything. Yeah. Okay, where did it just go? I just had tuck pointing done on my home. Would that be considered adding value to the home?
Did they pull permits for that? How much value did that actually add? So that information in a perfect world would be pulled, sent to our office. Our office would then run it. Our analyst would then say yes or no, depending on what the situation actually is.
Okay.
I'm not an analyst, guys. I'm sorry. I know. Listen, I just work here. And I just answer questions.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a few more about home improvements. It looks like gutters and stuff as well and roofs. So yeah. Why would somebody want to have their home in a trust versus in their own name?
That's their personal prerogative. Lots of people do things to get things out of their names. So
yeah, okay.
I don't listen. If you don't want no one to know what you own, that's between you and whoever you're not wanting them to know about. So that has nothing to do with us.
Let's see, one more, and then I think we're gonna call it a night. Let's see. My brother passed away last year and I just took over the payments. Will I qualify for an exemption?
I'm so sorry about that. I'm sorry. We just buried my grandma a month ago. Um, the question was the brother passed.
Brother passed away last year and Jennifer just took over the payments and she wondered if she would qualify for any exemption.
If the brother passed after January 1 of 2023, they qualify for whatever they would have qualified if they had not passed.
Okay.
I hope that makes sense. So as long as they were alive after January 1, 2023.
Mhm.
For example, my grandma passed the 24th of January of 2024. So that means and she qualifies for whatever she would have qualified because she lived after January 1st.
Okay. Okay. 70 questions, it looks like. We have Gail going crazy in the background too, consolidating and getting through them.
Thank
So
you, Dottie. I appreciate that.
thank you both so much for all the question answering. Hector, thank you so much for the presentation.
Absolutely.
Everything as well. Again, folks, you can reach out to the assessor's office. We'll have that information in our email. The phone number is 312-443-7550, which will also be in. Thank you all for joining us tonight. We will hopefully see some of you on Wednesday for our basement flooding webinar as well. Hector, Gail, have lovely evenings, and we will talk to you soon. Thank you so much.
Big shout out to Ms. Gail. Big shout out to Chicago Bungalow Association. Big shout out to everyone who was here. I appreciate your time. You could have been anywhere else doing literally anything else, but you're here with us tonight. So I appreciate it. Thank you so much. And everyone's saying condolences. I thank you so much.
All right. Take care. Good night.